Hello all, welcome to this video on Operating Systems Lab. Today I'll be talking about the use of execvp function in Linux. Now we'll look into the question that we are solving. We are going to write a program to add two integers which is received via the command line and compile it into an executable named myadder. Then we'll write another program that creates a new process using a fork system call. Then we make this child process add two integers by replacing its image with that of the myadder, which will be using the execvp function. Now we'll see in detail about execvp. Now this function has the header file unistate.h and this being its format for the function, which has a return type of int. Now the execc family of functions replace the current process image with a new process image. The new image shall be constructed from a regular executable file called the new process image file. There will be no return from a successful execc because the calling process image is overlaid by the new process image. The execvp function in Linux is a system call that replaces the current process image with a new process image that is specified by a file name and an array of arguments. It searches for the executable file in the directories listed in the path environment variable, which is similar to how a shell operates. When a C language program is executed as a result of a call to one of the execc family of functions, it shall be entered as a C language function call as follows, which is like this, where argc is the argument count and argv is the array of character pointers to the arguments themselves. In addition, the following variable must be declared by the user if it is to be used directly, which is extern character pointer environ. Now this is initialized as a pointer to an array of character pointers to the environment strings. The argv and environ arrays are each terminated by a null pointer. The null pointer terminating the argv array is not counted in the argc. Now the v in execvp. Now the argv is an array of pointers to null terminated strings that represent the argument list available to the new program. The first argument by convention should point to the file name associated with the file being executed. The array of pointers must be terminated by a null pointer. Now looking into p in execvp. Now this function duplicates the actions of the shell in searching for an executable file if the specified file name does not contain a slash character. The file is sought in the colon separated list of directory path names that is specified in the path environment variable. If this variable isn't defined, the path list defaults to a list that includes the directories returned by this. Now which typically returns this value and possibly also the current working directory. Now if this function is successful, then the current program is terminated and entirely replaced by the new program with the same process ID. The function does not return to the calling code after a successful execution. The execc functions return only if an error has occurred. The return value is -1 and errno is set to indicate the error. Now we'll look into the details of the fork function. Now fork has the header file unistate.h. Now this is the format of the function. Fork creates a new process by duplicating the calling process. The new process is referred to as the child process. The calling process is referred to as the parent process. The child process and the parent process run in separate memory spaces. At the time of fork, both memory spaces have the same content. Memory writes, file mappings and unmappings performed by one of the processes does not affect the other. On success, the PID of the child process is returned to the parent and 0 is returned in the child. On failure, -1 is returned in the parent, no child process is created and ERRNO is set to the indication of an error that happened. Now we'll look at the different functions and header files used in the program myadder.c, which will be taking in the command line arguments and performing an addition for two numbers. We'll begin with the header file stdio.h, which is the standard input-output library that provides functions like printf, which is used for printing output to the console. Then there is standard library header file, which provides utility functions like atoi. Now atoi will convert the initial portion of the string pointed to by this pointer into int. Its return is usually a converted value or 0 if there is an error. Now this is the function signature for a standard entry point for C and C++ programs that accept command line arguments. It allows the program to receive input directly when executed with argc storing the argument count and argv, that is storing the arguments as strings, where argv of 0 will be the program name. Now we look into the program myadder.c. Here we have included the header files we discussed before. We have the main function which takes in the command line arguments. We are using a variable called sum which is set to 0, into which the numbers will be added. Then we are checking if the argc count is anything other than 3, because 3 will include the program name and the two numbers to be added. If it's any other value, we display that there has been an error and return 1 to the main function. Else, we'll calculate the sum by taking in the command line arguments and using atoi, converting them into integers, and then finally printing the value and returning 0 to show that there was a successful execution. Now we'll look into the functions that are used in the program forkexec.c, where we'll create the child function, child process using the fork function, and where we'll be replacing the child process image with that of myadder.c using the execvp function. We'll begin with the header file stdio.h, which will provide declarations for standard input and output functions. We'll be using the function printf in it, which outputs the formatted data to the standard output stream. Then the p-error function, which will output a descriptive error message to the standard error stream based on the current value of ERRNO. Then there is unisted.h header file, which defines symbolic constants and declare functions for POSIX operating system services, particularly for process control. From that, we use the function fork and execvp, which we have already discussed in the previous slides. We also use another functions from the same header file, which is getPID, which will return the process ID of the calling process, then getPPID, which will return the process ID of the parent of the calling process. Then there is the header file syswait.h, which will provide macros and functions related to process termination and waiting. From that, we use the function wait. Now this suspends the execution of the calling process until one of its child process terminate. It retrieves the termination status of the child process and store it in the integer pointed to by the status argument. Then there is the header file systypes.h, which will define data types used in system calls and library functions. From it, we use the data type PIDT. Now this is used to represent process identifiers in Unix and POSIX compliant systems. Now we look into the code for forkexec.c. We have included all the header files mentioned before. We have the main function which takes in the command line arguments. Then we declare an array, args, which is a character pointer, which will include the program name, the two arguments which are to be taken from the command line, and finally the null pointer, which we already mentioned should be added to the end of the array when executing the execvp function. Then we perform fork. We take the return value. If it's anything less than 0, then we say that the fork has failed and return 1 to the main function. If the PID value is 0, the control is in the child process, we print its PID and its parent PID. Then we replace the process image of this child with that of the myadder using execvp, where we pass in args of 0, which is the name of the program, and args, which is this array. Now there will be a return value for execvp if there is an error. Now to detect that, we use p-error. Else the control is in the parent process, we print its PID, then we print its child ID. Now we also issue a wait function in parent. Suppose the parent exits before the child process execute the addition program of myadder. The child can turn into a zombie. For that, we make the parent process wait till the child has terminated using the wait function. Then finally, after the child has terminated, the parent also exits and returns the 0 value. Now this is a sample output for this programs. Now we'll compile myadder program and give it the name myadder for the object file as mentioned in the question. Then we compile the forkexec program and give it forkexec as the object file name. Then we execute forkexec and give any random two numbers to be added. Now we see that the control is in the parent process. It prints its PID, spawn child with the PID of the child process. Then it's waiting for the child to finish. Now the control goes to the child process, prints its PID and parent PPID. This is the parent PID. Then it will replace the process image with that of myadder using the execvp function. And finally the sum is displayed, which is 12,463. And finally the child process has been done with its execution, and after that the parent exits. Now we'll see a demo of the same. So first we have the myadder program, then we have the forkexec program, then we compile and give the object file name myadder to myadderprogram.c. Then for forkexec we perform the same function giving the object file forkexec name. Then we execute it and pass in two numbers to perform the addition. Now you can see we have the control in the parent process. Then it displays the PID of the child process, waiting for the child process. After that, control being passed to the child process. There we perform the execvp function. And finally, the child exiting, and after that, the parent process is exiting. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.